Greetings and welcome to the Sky Spirit channel. How are you doing? It's good to see you. I apologize that I've had a week off. I've been feeling a little bit out of sorts and having a bit of a fibro flare up and just feeling generally grotty. But I'm starting to feel more or less human or human alien hybrid or whatever it is. So I am back and in the evening as well. So I've managed to stay awake and it's the evening and I'm here. So I'm going to see how this goes. We're doing this in the evening and seeing if I can maintain the energy to do it because it would be useful because if I do this in the mornings, it takes half the day away, and then like the things that I do to get paid for like real work, I don't do. So I've ended up like getting behind on loads of work and bills and stuff like that. So if I can maintain the energy, it would be great to do this in the evening. So if you're new to the show, hello, and please do subscribe. It helps me. It doesn't cost you anything. It will help the show go further and will mean that in the future I will become the new Mr. Beast, but in a psychic way. And I won't have to do boring work. I shall just read tarot all day and YouTube will pay me for it. And that's the dream. It's probably not going to happen, but subscribe anyway and just keep me happy. Hello, Mr. Steve and Mandy and KLG and Patricia and Lynn. How are you doing? And Linda as well. I hope I haven't missed anybody there. Have we got anybody on TikTok? Let's have a look. And probably not, because I still haven't sorted out. It says we've got 2 viewers on TikTok, but I still haven't sorted out why that isn't working anymore. What I should have done was put my phone up and done it on the phone again to make sure that it's the actual software and not the account. Hi Tashelle, how are you doing? So I will do that at some point, but for now we're just gonna have to do with it as it is. Hello Julesy Bob, you're there, brilliant. How are you doing? If you're watching this as a recording at a later date and not with us live, then that is fantastic too. You can use this channel as a conduit from which to channel answers from the universe through the power of the tarot cards. We'll be spending the majority of today's show doing like a pick a card style reading. So you will focus on your questions and I will lay down the cards and then hopefully you'll get some answers. So that's how we roll. So stick around for the next hour and a half maybe, and we'll see if we can get some answers from the universe for everybody and have a little bit of chat and just have a jolly evening. So that will be cool. Now let's just move this across so I can see what's going on. Nope, still can't really see what's going on TikTok. I really need to sort my tech out, but it isn't happening for today. So the first thing that we're going to do, oh, KLG, has it frozen? Not much I can do about that. So I'll just have to keep going. I'll just keep going and we'll see. YouTube has stopped. Well, that's odd. I don't know why. I'll just have to keep talking and we'll just have to see what happens. Oh, I love it. It never runs smoothly, does it? It never, literally never runs smoothly. But I look on it as a challenge that needs to be overcome. Right. I am going to start with a 3-card collective reading for you. So this might be directed at you. This might be a way that the universe has chosen to get a message to you, or your spirit guide, or the powers of the universe, whoever you subscribe to, your guardian angel, your higher self. Could be anything. This is a way that a message can get to you. Now, everybody has their own idea how things work and how tarot works. And I sometimes think that, I don't think there's any timing. It's not like something's gonna, if you're not watching this live, you're watching it as a recording and you think that, your higher power is your higher self. I think that's absolutely fine because I totally believe that there's no such thing as time, and you think of that from a quantum point of view, there isn't. It's past, present, future, all happening at once. And B, I believe that we are all one, and that encompasses like God, the creator, the universe, guardian angels, higher self, me, you, everybody. We're all the same thing. Hello, cats, how are you? So we are all of the same We're all of the same tree. I like to think of it as, I had this vision once actually during meditation where I was sitting with my back against a tree and I suddenly thought, you know, I'm just like a leaf on the tree and everybody else is another leaf, but like they're all part of the same tree, but they don't realize it. None of those leaves has any sort of knowledge of the other leaves, but they're all intrinsically connected through this vast tree. So if we think about our, I don't know, our universe as the tree, and then, you know, each of us, each energy is a leaf on that tree, all connected, but we can't quite see them. We're all waving in the same wind. So anyway, I digress as per usual. So what I'm going to do is shut up and put 3 cards down and we're going to do a collective reading. So whether you're watching us live or whether you're watching this as a recording, listen out for this message. Right. That's interesting. So we've got the 5 of Pentacles, 2 of Wands, and the 8 of Pentacles reversed. So what do these cards mean? Now, the 5 of Pentacles often talks about a loss, something that you've had to leave behind. Now, it's because it's Pentacles, it's usually to do with material things, the loss of belongings, jobs, money, houses, cars, situations, but it can also be losing something to do with your heart. So it can be like losing a piece of yourself. The key note of importance with the 5 of Pentacles, take a peek at this card, right? What these people are doing is they are hobbling away in the snow, right? But what they're missing is this door, and this is actually a stained glass window behind them, and it's to represent the church as in provider of sanctuary and help. You've got to think about the medieval meanings of these cards. What it symbolizes in modern day is the fact that, all right, you've lost something and you're sort of having to make out by yourself and sort of leave things behind, but you're missing something that's being offered to you. So you're missing being helped. You're missing something in your life. It's like you're looking at what you've lost, but you're not actually realizing how much you've gained or how much you've maintained or what had to be cut loose in order for you to proceed. Okay, so it's like a hey, stop wallowing, count your blessings card, because it's like what is lost is actually still there in essence. Okay, yeah, you're having to walk away from something, but it feels like not all is lost, if you see what I mean. Now this ties in nicely with this next card, the 2 of Wands, because this is a card of planning. If you have a look at that card, this guy stands with the world in his hands. He's like, the world is my oyster. And he's like looking out over the horizon and he's thinking, okay, the world is my oyster. Whence shall I go now and cause great merriment? So he's thinking, all right, put these cards together. All right, he's walked away from something, feels like he's lost a lot, but what he hasn't done is he's not counted his, there's a saying, isn't there? I'm not going to be able to remember what it is. He's looked at what he's lost, he hasn't looked at what he's retained. But then what he's doing is he's then, oh, thank you KLG for the Sky Spirit gift memberships, thank you. He's now making plans. So after the loss, he makes plans for progress. So it's like new things. It's like going, okay, well, that didn't work out, I lost that, but still got this. All right, and then he looks across the horizon. It's like, I'm going to move on from this place, I'm going to draw a line in the sand. Everything of that is behind me. I'm leaving that behind because I'm off to better things. With this world is my oyster in my hand, I'm going to stride forward with a new purpose and achieve new things. So these 2 cards together are really about cutting your losses, but then realizing you've still got somewhere to go. Yeah, you've still got places to go moving forward. Now, interestingly, the 3rd card here is that 8 of Pentacles reversed, because I think this is a little bit of a warning, because this is a card that talks about lessons that needed to be learned. So it's like you've lost out on something and had to make new plans, which is great, but this is saying, learn your lesson this time. Learn from what you lost. Learn from what you had to leave behind, because that card is a reversal of, this is like learning new things and skills and going through the portal and leveling up. Yeah, when it's upside down, it's going, all right, who didn't learn their lesson the last time? Who's done exactly the same thing and fallen down exactly the same hole again? and now has to repeat the lesson. So learn your lesson this time. You're making new plans. Don't fall back into your old ways that ended you in this sticky situation in the first place. Look forward and not back. Remember, you've got the world in your hands. There's no reason for you to look back. There's no reason for you to revisit old ground. There's no reason for you to give people a second chance. Thank you, Mr. Steve. There's no chat on the screen. Well spotted. I wondered why I could see like what's going on over there. Right, where are we? Which one is it? Is it that one? It is. Right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Steve. So why did nobody else notice that? Right. So learn the lessons. Learn the lessons. Don't go back to sticky time. Okay, so that was the collective reading. I hope that made sense to somebody, and I hope that you're going to learn your lessons moving forward, because that's always a good way to be, isn't it? If you are watching me on TikTok, I don't know if you are, then you might want to move across to YouTube. You can find me at Sky Spirit Creations, where it might be easier if you've got a question to ask later on, because I can see the chat from YouTube and I can't see it from TikTok. So there we are. Right, let's change the screen to put this on. There's my little square, and we're going to move on to the part of the show where what do we call it? The double 12 card pickup. So how does that work? Well, what I'm going to do is lay down 12 sets of 2 cards. Okay, what you're going to do is think of your question or your situation or your issue that you would like some guidance on, and then select a number in your head. Always select the first one that comes into your head. Don't second guess yourself. Your intuition is that first voice that shouts up, okay? If you want to go for more than one number, go for more than one number. That's absolutely fine. If you want to choose all the numbers, choose all the numbers. Be greedy with your numbers. That's perfectly all right. Alternatively, you might just want to leave your mind blank and listen to all the explanations, because the Tarot of Fab, in that every single card and combination have got a lesson for us and advice for us. No such thing as bad advice from the tarot, really, unless you take it in the wrong context, I guess. But in general, there's no such thing as bad advice in the tarot. So whatever interpretation you're listening to, that's going to be relevant perhaps at some point in your life. So you could keep your mind open and just listen to all the explanations. Or what was the other way of doing it? So firstly, think of a question or an issue and think of numbers. Secondly, listen to it all. All right. Thirdly, sometimes I think this really works well, is rather than think of a specific question, just sort of allow yourself to be open to a message from the universe and then choose a number. So you could think like, or say out loud, I ask the universe for what is most important for me to hear right now, number 2. And then you see what number 2 has to say to you. So however you want to play it, do what you want with the interpretations, or you can just ignore me and just continue to chat if you're just here for the chat. And that is fine too. I don't mind that at all, because I do that with a lot of streams myself as well. I have no idea what they're on about, and the whole show finishes and I've got no idea what's been said or what the topic's about, because I've just been chatting. So that's perfectly all right too. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay down those cards. So start thinking about your issues or your numbers, and we'll see where we go. Oh, I've just been drawn to give these another final shuffle. Hi, Mac. How are you doing? Just spotted you there. And Goldie Bob is over on YouTube now from TikTok. Oh, let's have a quick check of TikTok. TikTok talk. There's nothing going on over there. I think I've ruined. I think I've ruined TikTok when I kept getting warning messages about drinking out of a pint glass with Stella written on it, and I was like getting all these mad warning messages that I was promoting alcohol use. And since then, like I've gone from like a few hundred people were watching it on TikTok at a time, which was chaotic, but it was nice to feel wanted. And now there's like 3 people on there, so I think it's been throttled by TikTok, but I'm not quite sure. Anyway, doesn't matter. We've got YouTube, and that's all that we need. Right, let's get these cards out. So we'll go round once. Let's get them on the screen today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and we go round again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Starting today at number 9. Is that number 9? Yes, it is. Right, number 9. What do we have? Oh, this is a really lovely way to start with a bit of devilment. Right, Mr. Devilface, what does this mean? Right, the devil and the 5 of swords reversed. Regret. Regret and guilt is like the 2 words that spring to mind here, and struggling to let go of them. Struggling to get the devil off your back, the devil being guilt about things said and done, or regret. Guilt is such a really negative, destructive emotion, you know, feeling guilty about things that we've done, especially if we can't change them, or you know, like struggling to let go of, when you wake up at like 2 in the morning, you're lying in bed and you're like, literally nobody on earth lies there congratulating themselves on their magnificence, do they? We all lie there like, oh, I'm such a bad person, I did this in like 1987 and then this happened and then that happened, and you're like, you go through literally everything in your head, and that's like guilt becomes like a massive demon at 3 in the morning and starts beating you up. Now that card is very often about that guilt feeling, about conflict and things like that. And if you look at that guy, what's happening there is he's like kicked the crap out of those 2 guys and he's nicked their swords, and they're like running off with their tails between their legs, off towards the sea for whatever reason that is. And he's like looking around like, oh, was it really worth it? I've taken your swords, but really I appreciated your friendship more. So it's about that feeling of, I won the battle, but was it worth it? And when it turns upside down, it brings even more emphasis to that feeling of a little bit of shame, a little bit of feeling like it's a hollow victory, something that, you wish hadn't happened in order to win a battle, or it's that feeling of guilt. Now, when it's teamed with this devil card here, it's really saying that this guilt or regret, can be regret about relationships and things like that, has really become a devil on your back, in that it's holding you, it's tying you to a toxic pattern of energy. If you're anything that's got the devil involved with it is not going to be a good thing in general, mostly, unless it's like bedroom antics, in which case the devil is probably quite a useful card to have. We'll not get into that because I might get banned. But in general, the devil with this card, we're talking about the fact that it's becoming incredibly toxic and poisoning to your system, this level of guilt and regret over a certain situation. So what do we do about this? Right, well, what we need you to do, let's turn him on his right way here, because look at him, he's looking round at those people. What does he need to do? Maybe he needs to shout after them, oi, oi, you, and you there trotting off into the sea. You can have your swords back, or hang on, let's talk about this conflict that we've just had on the beach. Why don't we talk it out, guys? Or perhaps it's like reaching out to them. Perhaps this is about talking to somebody from the past to put things right. Or perhaps what he needs to do is chase them into the sea and just chop them up a bit more, because, like, to finish them off properly. So it could be either rectifying a situation with somebody, or perhaps they need to be cut out properly. I didn't really put that very well, did I? It sounds a bit weird. But it's about sorting out what that toxic situation is, and however you do it, cutting ties with the toxicity of it is going to release this black cloud. You know, when you feel like a weight has been lifted from your shoulders, that can be especially uplifting when it's guilt or regret that you let go of, because these things tie us to negative patterns of behavior and toxic ways of seeing ourselves, and they hold us back. We don't become we don't fulfill our full potential as the magnificent spiritual beings that we can be if we keep thinking back of in 2012, I told somebody they were fat and I shouldn't have done, or something along those lines. You know, when you keep harping back to something, you're just punishing yourself. Yeah. And that's where our devil is. So we need to cut ties with that or finish a situation off entirely in order to let go of it and then turn your head around and walk off that beach without looking back. Yeah. So I sort of got a bit carried away there with the what do you call it, story. What is the story called? Oh, begins with A. When you talk about not a metaphor, it's the other word. Can't remember. But the little story that I was trying to use to illustrate the idea of the two cards. But you need to cut ties with it. Let's move on and stop waffling. Right, we're going to go to number 12 now. Yes, and don't forget, before I turn these over, don't forget to join our new sister Discord server, the Fellowship, and Charles KLG has put the link there, so all welcome. Right, number 12. Number 12, oh, sneakiness indeed. We've got the Magician, and then we've got the Seven of Swords reversed, the old sneak that it is. So what do these cards mean? Okay, right. We've got some scheming going on here, some scheming and manipulation, I would say. And is this analogy? That's the one, Tashel, thank you very much. I thought it began with an A and I couldn't remember what it was. Analogy, yes, that was what I was trying to say there, thank you. And Julesy Bob too. Right, so these cards, we're talking about scheming and manipulation. The Magician is the ultimate manipulator, but usually in a good way, all right? But team him with the sneaky Seven of Swords and then spin it on its head. And what we've got here is a bit of a little bit of a sneaky manipulation, a little bit of a darker manipulation going on here. So these cards are asking you to take a good look around you and to see if are you being manipulated by somebody, or are you the manipulator? So what's going on? Do we know what's going on here? Can you identify where this manipulation is coming from? I mean, when manipulation, I'm using that word to sort of as a broad blanket to cover all that sort of scheming and pushing and pulling, and you know, when things go on behind the scenes and under the surface that are pushing you down a certain path. Or I mean, it can be somebody does it on purpose, or it can be that people are emotionally manipulative without without actually doing it on purpose, if you know what I mean. People can push you down emotional pathways and have you doing things out of guilt and things like that. So they are being manipulative without doing it on purpose, if you see what I mean. So have a look around you if you chose number 12 and try to identify where this manipulation is. If it's you, sort yourself out. And if it's somebody else, then do you really want to be around them? Should you distance yourself from them? Should you sort of, you know, not be too involved with their energy? Because manipulators, like emotional manipulators, can only manipulate you when you are entangled with them and in their web of manipulation. So is it possible to distance yourself from a situation? Because the Magician is a major arcana card here, I would say that the power is pretty much in your hands to actually break away from this situation. But it is going to take some doing. That makes no sense whatsoever. Everything takes doing. But what I mean is, it's not something that you can just allow to ride out, just allow to sort of gradually change. You're actually going to have to put the brakes on. And make the change. You're going to have to be the Magician, pick up your magical items and cast spells, metaphorically, meaning you're going to have to put the wheels in motion in order to draw a line under this situation and stop this sort of emotional blackmail, I see it as, going on. Okay, so take heed, number 12. Let me know if that means anything to you, because you know, I sit here and I spout off all this stuff and sometimes I hear back from people and I get some feedback and it's like, yes, it makes my day. Otherwise I'm just sitting here basically talking rubbish, aren't I? So that was number 12. Where do we go from here then? Where do we go from here? Not an existential question, one of a simple turning of cards. Let's go to number one. Will they be good or will they be bad? I'm going to choose number one as my cards. They better be good. Oh, they are good. Right, okay. So we've got the Lovers and we've got the Queen of Wands reversed. So what do these cards mean? Right, the Lovers, a major arcana card that can be about lovers. So it can be quite literal. It can be saying, okay, well, you've got a lover approaching your life, or you could be about to form a partnership or meet somebody, okay? But it's also often about having to make choices, having to choose between two options. And I guess the symbolism of that is that there's normally sort of two people in a traditional relationship. So it's a choice between, those two people, or sometimes you have to choose between two partners and things like that. It's like it's the duality. It's two. It's choosing between two. Now, teaming this card, because remember, we always read contextually when we've got two cards. We've got a Queen of Wands reversed. Now, Wands is about energy and inspiration and drive and creativity. And with that Queen in particular, she's about being in charge of her inspiration and drive, like in a work way, in a sort of momentum, in that driving force forward. Now, one of the interpretations that I see of these cards, and I say one of them because we know there are probably hundreds of ways these two cards could be interpreted, all right, because they are so nuanced, the tarot, that it's I give you the dots, you have to join them. So one particular interpretation of these could be there's a choice that needs to be made between two options in order for you to move forward creatively. All right, so that could be something that these cards mean. Another interpretation could be like there is a lover on the cards for you, and it looks like it could be to do with sort of I've just got totally distracted by reading the chat there. Sorry, I've just totally lost my train of thought. So a choice, it could be a lover approaching you who would be Queen of Wands but reversed. So somebody who was sort of perhaps sucking energy from you, perhaps taking up too much of your headspace. And you had to make a choice. Were you going to be with that person, or is that just like too much, too intense, taking too much time or too much of yourself away from you? You know, when you meet people who are just like totally dominating, and they just feel like you lose yourself a little bit. So that would be a Queen of Wands reversed. So there's another potential interpretation of these two cards. We could also say with these two cards, the Queen of Wands, she's got that little black cat there, the little black cat, and it is actually symbolic of her inner self, her intuition. And so these two cards together, another interpretation could be you might have a choice to be made. You might have a choice to make concerning whether to go down a sort of intuitive path, whether to go down a spiritual path, whether to re-find your spiritual roots, or whether to be that queen with the crown on the right way up and really sort of pushing things practically rather than spiritually. So there could be a choice there to make. So I'm being really vague here, aren't I? But what I'm trying to do is give you an idea that these two cards together, there's so many possible meanings for them. But this is the important card. This is like, sorry, the most important card, I should say. I can't say that the Queen of Wands isn't important, but this is a major arcana card. So lovers, we're talking either a relationship or a choice potentially. It could be both. You could be having to make a choice in a relationship. And is it between somebody and a fire queen? Is it unsettling your fire queen that you're having to choose between her and another? Interesting cards. Let me know if they resonate for you. Where do we go from here? I think we'll go to number two. Number two. Well, nice. Beautiful cards. Beautiful message for somebody if you've chosen number two. If you haven't chosen number two, I suggest you choose number two immediately. Right, what do we have here? Well, actually, if you're looking for a new relationship, choose number two immediately. If not, you'd probably be best off without it. Right. What we've got here is a new relationship and leaving something in the past in the past. It feels like you may have been thinking about the past and put in like those green grass goggles on when you look back and think the grass is always greener, or things were better with this person, or things were better with that person I used to be with, or my life used to be better in 1987, or I used to do better things when I was younger, or oh, my life is all behind me, nothing good happens anymore, or whatever's in the past needs to stay there. This card, Six of Cups, it's got little children on it, and that's to symbolize the past, your childhood, nostalgia. Turn it upside down, and what it's saying is whatever answer you're looking for is in the future, not in the past. If, for example, you were say potentially you were deciding you'd met somebody on Facebook, let's say, and you used to know them years and years ago, and you were thinking, oh, maybe I should meet them. Maybe there's something for the future there. All right, this card would be like, nah, don't bother. Yeah, leave the past where it is. Say if you were making a choice between somebody that you've just met or somebody that you've known for a while, choose the person that you've just met if you've chosen number two, because this is telling you to leave the past where it is. Doesn't have to be just about relationships. Yes, it's cups, so it's to do often with the relationships, but that's because it's to do with emotions being cups. So if it's something that you feel a lot about, like, for example, I might have used to have a business walking dogs. And I used to love doing it, and it stopped during the lockdown. And so maybe I've been thinking, oh, I used to love it when I used to take those dogs out and we used to go off into the hills and I'd get paid for it. What a great job. If I saw this card, it would be like, nah, leave it where it was. You hated it. It constantly rained. You picked up multiple turds a day. You were covered in mud. The dogs used to run off and chase sheep all the time, and it was a nightmare. So that card would relate to that situation because it's something I felt about. Yeah, so not necessarily a relationship. Now, the other card, this is the exciting part. So we've dealt with this one. Leave this in the past. Whatever it is, leave it in the past, because what you have got is a new start emotionally. Now, the Ace of Cups is often associated with a new relationship. So if you're in a position where you're looking for a new relationship, this is a great card. This would be the best card because it's like the start of something new. Look at the hand with the chalice. You're being handed a chalice. It's almost like a challenge. Like, will you take up the challenge of this new relationship? Well, in order to clear the way for this new love or this new emotional state, you have to kiss goodbye to the past. Yeah, we have to put this to bed in order to fully embrace this, in order to take up the challenge of the chalice of cups. So it's a great card if you're looking for a relationship. It's also a great card if you have been sort of struggling with a frame of mind, like if you've been feeling a little bit out of sorts, down in the dumps, a bit meh. This is like the sort of that new breath of fire into your emotions. It's like that beautiful feeling where you just wake up one morning and the birds are singing and the cows are mooing and you just feel really good. I don't know. Does anybody live somewhere where you can hear cows mooing? I do. So I sometimes hear cows mooing in the morning, which is always nice. But other sounds that you might like, or the windows open and the scent of lavender is just tumbling into your bedroom, and you just wake up feeling like really, really good, and the sun's shining, and whatever it is that makes you happy is there. Okay, this is your Ace of Cups moment, right? So if we're looking for a relationship, you've got it. Okay, take up the challenge by leaving what's in the past in the past. If you're already in a relationship, perhaps you're moving to a different stage of that relationship. And if you've just been in a bit of a doldrum yourself and feeling a bit out of sorts, then expect things to change. But in order for things to change, we can never usually just sit there and wait for things to be handed to us on the plate, on a plate. We've even got the hand there with the chalice in it. All right. We have to do something, and that means just like drawing a line about the past, letting the past go, letting something in the past go, letting bygones be bygones, maybe, or just walking away from something, or just accepting something's over in order to move on to something new. So these are really lovely cards. I like them cards a lot. Let's have a look. Where do we go now? Let us go to number 3. Number 3. Ooh, those are good cards, sort of, for work and opportunities. So hang on, I'm just going to see if there's anything happening on TikTok. Is there anything happening on TikTok? I don't think there is. Right, back to YouTube. Right, what do we have here? These are, trying to think of another word here. You know, when things are like opposite, is it a paradox? Is it paradox? When things are opposite? I can't remember. Right. We've got the Page of Pentacles reversed. Now, this is a card that screams to me, you lost your job, you got sacked, you did something wrong. It's like, it can also be an opportunity to do with work that doesn't go right. Something about work or opportunities that goes wrong. My dogs are barking for no apparent reason. The dogs of psychicness are calling out in joy. So often you see this card where somebody's done something wrong at work, or there's something happening that's not going to plan at work, but not everybody works, all right? So it can refer to any situation which is about practicalities, yeah? And it's something that's been turned on its head, something hasn't worked out right, something that is a stumbling block in a practical way. Pages can also be messengers as well. And so this card can also mean sort of news that isn't great about money, because with pentacles, work, money, yeah, so it can be news that you'd rather not get about money, monetary losses, things like that. Okay, so this is something going wrong. Now, conversely, I got that word right out. Okay, Ace of Pentacles is about a new opportunity coming from work, from money. So these cards together read consecutively. Now I'm stumbling over my words. I was so pleased that I managed to say whatever that last one was. I lost track. So now I've lost track of what I was saying entirely. Gosh. This is what it feels like to be a goldfish. Hello, castle. Hello, castle. Hello, castle. No, right. So whatever it is that's been lost, whether that is a job that's been lost, something that's gone wrong, something monetary, or something to do with work, it feels like it was necessary in order for dun, 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 the hand of opportunity to reach out to you through the clouds, carrying that pentacle. Now, this is an ace of pentacles. Beautiful card. It's one of the best cards in deck for new starts, a new start in energy, a new start at work, a new start at a new start at whatever it is that brings you material security. Great card for starting a new job. These two cards together would be like, all right, you got sacked, but it was for the best because you got a great job. Yeah. You left this job and then you got a new opportunity. Things didn't go right in this job, but it was for a reason, because then you left and started this job. Yeah, you see where I'm going. You've got one which is a loss on a work or money wise, or something to do with security, and then you've got bang, just when you're least expecting it, you've literally got a new opportunity. Cheyenne, is everything has just totally crashed again? Is that YouTube? Is it all freezing? Oh well, I hope I haven't frozen with a ridiculous expression on my face as usual. I'll have to keep a deadpan face just in case it freezes. I'll just keep talking. Hopefully you can hear me. If not, then I apologise, but you can't hear me apologise anyway, so it doesn't matter. Right, so Page of Pentacles, don't mourn what is lost, because that new opportunity is coming out of the clouds for you. And it's often with that as well, that Ace of Pentacles can often be what you least expect. It's like all of a sudden, out of the blue, you get this opportunity and it like sort of sweeps you off your feet. When you see, remember, when you see clouds on my cards as well, we think of the clouds of confusion, and that hand comes through the clouds of confusion. So it's like going whoosh, 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 out of the way. Here you go, have some clarity, have some sort of reason and purpose in life. Yeah, I think KLG, I think YouTube is playing up because I was just watching Beverly's stream and that was playing up like hell as well. So I think it's something to do with YouTube. We'll just say that, I think. I know, Cheyenne, don't see, I've got many great faces. I hope I haven't frozen into many great different shapes and weird facial expressions. I hope that's not me. Right. Let us try the next cards. I hope that you can still hear me. But if not, then I can just talk a load of rubbish, can't I? More rubbish than usual, and nobody can complain. Right, number 4. Number 4. What do we have? Number 4. One of my favorite cards, the High Priestess with the Knight of Swords. Right. These cards are interesting cards. I always say cards are interesting. For goodness sake, I'm going to write down a list of more exciting adjectives on the bottom of the box that my laptop sits on, just so I can refer to it and not be as tedious. Right, we have got the High Priestess, who is the deep lady of intuition who sits near a deep, deep pool of water, thinking very carefully about her actions and words. For she knows that wisdom comes from deep within and is not a superficial thing. She goes and she looks at all the experiences that she's had, and she examines the relationships with other people, and she is the wise one. She never rushes in. She never speaks without thinking. She knows through womanly ways what people are thinking and feeling. This is the High Priestess. Now, conversely, the Knight of Swords, he just jumps on his horse and he gets out his weapon and he just gallops into every situation that he can think of, and he just goes gung-ho at things and just starts chopping at stuff without thinking. So the Knight of Swords is pretty much the opposite of the High Priestess in that he rushes into things, he speaks without thinking, and he causes problems because he just doesn't think before he acts, and he puts his mouth into gear before he speaks. But he's got a beautiful heart. He just needs to rein it in a little bit, all right? He's got, I mean, he's an adventurer. He likes a challenge. He could probably teach the High Priestess something about sort of, you know, having a bit of an adventure sometime and not just overthinking everything. Because I get the feeling the High Priestess is a bit of an overanalyzer. Knight of Swords never bothers even thinking about it from about anything. All right. So what we've got with these two, when we read it contextually, when we read these two together, we've got a need for balance because these two are such polar opposites. We've got a need for balance in your life. It feels like you often feel like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. You're either too scared to move forward or have moved forward without thinking it through, and so you sort of then you're backpedaling thinking, oh my goodness, so now I've done this and I can't go back on it. So what needs to happen here, number 4, is that we need some common ground. There needs to be a balance between this overthinking, overanalyzing, wisdom and intuition, and just pure thought and action. Yeah, so we need to find, I would suggest what we need in the middle here is something like the Knight of Pentacles, which would be you know, taking things slower, sort of examining the pros and cons of stuff rather than sort of going, well, I'm just going to think about this forever and think about how it feels, or going, right, I'm just going to do it. The Knight of Pentacles would be more like, okay, let's just write down the pros and cons and make a rational decision. So the Knight of Pentacles would be somewhere in the middle of these two. And I think that's what the message for you is from these cards, number 4, Mandy, number 4. We need to get that balance going between the action and the inaction. I feel like you need some earth in the middle of these two, a nice Pentacles card to give you that practical way of approaching issues, practical way of dealing with challenges and situations so that you don't either overthink or act without thinking. There needs to be that balance because it feels like you're swinging between those two extremes. I hope that makes sense, and I hope is that reasonable advice? I mean, it sounds a bit obvious, doesn't it? Like trying to be in the middle, but I can sort of see it in my head. I can visualize what I mean. I probably just can't vocalize it very well. Being the Knight of Pentacles, being the person who doesn't rush in, but who doesn't just like overthink things either, you know, taking that rational approach, deciding, right, okay, this morning I'm going to decide what to do about X situation. I'm going to write down my options, and by lunchtime I'll make a decision. So like not getting stuck in the process of thinking about it, but not just rushing straight in. I hope that makes sense. I hope it does. Right, where do we go? Let us have a look. Right, we're going to go to number 5. Number 5. Number 5 is alive. Number 5, we've got the Four of Swords and we've got the King of Pentacles reversed. Right, I feel like there's a need for a big rest. I feel like you're exhausted. King of Pentacles reversed. It feels like your crown has toppled off your head and it feels like you're at the end of your tether. And this could be material, finances, work, but also responsibility, I think, comes to mind. And that sort of everything's got to be too much. Everything feels like it's piled on top of you. You're not trusting your own decision-making process anymore. You feel like you've just had enough and want to retreat into, in fact, under the bed or under the duvet, you know, and just pull the duvet over your head and not have to make any more decisions, because it's stressful, isn't it? Being adults and having to make like important decisions every day that affect the rest of our lives, and you never really know what's going to happen when you make these decisions. And then we have to live with the consequences, which can be a real pain in the ass. So sometimes we just want to be that king. We feel like that King of Pentacles who's upside down, where it just feels like, here, take my crown. I don't want it anymore. Somebody else make these decisions. I've had enough. I'm sick of everything. You know, I'm sick of having to be responsible. I'm sick of having to go to work. I'm sick of having to balance the bills and the house and the business and the this and the that and walk the dog and feed the family. I'm just sick of the whole thing. I just want to be like the Fool, or be the Knight of Swords and just gallop off and do something else. So this is when the King of Pentacles just like slides off his throne, and his crown just rolls across the palace floor, and he's like, I just can't be bothered anymore. I just don't want to be in charge. So that's where we are with the King of Pentacles. Now the solution to this is in this card here, the Four of Swords. Look at this guy. He's in bed, basically. He has pulled the duvet. Well, he's not pulled the duvet over his head. He's just taken it off his hands for now, but it was over his head a second ago. And what's happened is all these things above him, these are these swords dangling down from the sky. Think of those swords as those responsibilities that we were just talking about with the King of Pentacles unseated here. But this guy has just got them hanging over him, and he's just closed his eyes now, and he's going to pull his duvet over his head and ignore them. This is a card of like burying your head in the sand, or just turning the other cheek to all those problems, issues, pressing decisions, things like that, and just going, enough, time out, can't be bothered, not going to do anything. I think sometimes, you know, when we don't know what to do, sometimes it's okay just to do absolutely nothing. And that's what this guy is doing. He's having a big rest. He's giving himself some time out. He's being easy on himself. He's not beating himself up about not like keeping everything going absolutely smoothly and like clockwork and make this decision, then this one, then this one, then this one. He's like allowing himself to lie in bed and ignore those decisions. Now, if you can realistically lie in bed and ignore decisions, that would be great. But you can still sort of do that in your head, can't you? You can still sort of give yourself some time out, give yourself some time off. This card is also seen sometimes when somebody's exhausted, even if they're in hospital just recovering after a long illness. It's that recuperation and it's needed. So it's a card that says, okay, stop, recharge, re-energize in order to heal. Okay, you need to get off the treadmill for a little bit, or you need to spend some time healing in some respect, okay, before you get back on your King of Pentacles throne and start leading the charge again, and looking after everything, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, making sure everybody's fed, all the bills are paid, blah 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 blah. So the two cards, I'm just looking at that, Mr. Steve. Yes, massive plasma ejections from the sun. Stefan Byrne told us he did, didn't he? And that's probably why the YouTube and etc. is all going crazy. I totally believe that's the case. Yeah. Right. So what was I saying? Yeah, have a rest. Have a rest. Let the sun's massive plasma ejections just go past you, just pass you by as you lay in your bed with your duvet over your head, just taking some time out from the world and giving yourself that little bit of rest and recovery that you so desperately need at the moment. Right, let us go back to the cards. If you have just joined us, we're doing the double 12 card pickup. So if you have a question that you'd like an answer to, we've still got 11, 10, 8, 7, or 6. So think of your question and think of one of those numbers. So you can still get your question answered by the conduit of the universe the conduit of the tarot cards. The universe answers the question. No, I've said that all wrong. The universe will answer your questions using the conduit of the tarot cards. That's it. Got it. Right. The plasma streams are affecting my vocabulary today, I believe. That's what I'm going to blame it on anyway. Right. Number 6. Number 6. 5 of Wands, 3 of Cups, reversed. Okay. Right. So the frantic, backbiting energy, gossiping, things going on around you is sucking the joy from your life. Yeah. These are like, if you look at the illustration on this card, these are little sods and they are all hitting each other with sticks, right? Now, I say little sods because they're all youngsters, or they're supposed to be on the original illustration. And that's to symbolize the fact that these aren't huge problems. They're like little children. They're like little problems, but there's lots of them. And it's like a swarm of mosquitoes around your head with all these little, this has to be done, this has to be done, this, and it just like all those little things get to be too much. It gets like you can't see the wood for the trees. It's like a swarm of problems around you, and it's like I get this when say my stepdad will come and he'll say, have you not done this in the house? Like, I don't know, weed the gravel or something like that. And I'll be like, no, because I didn't have time because I had this to do. And he says, well, it's only 5 minutes. And I think, yes, but everything's only 5 minutes. Yeah, do this, it's only 5 minutes. Do this, it's only 5 minutes. Fill in this form, it's only 5 minutes. Do this. If everything's only 5 minutes, like you end up with a massive pile of it's only 5 minutes things, and they end up being insurmountable. And then you prioritize the things that you have to do, i.e. stuff that you do for work and things like that. And then, just generally keeping the house clean. At the end of the day, I didn't have time to weed the bloody gravel. Not that I'm angry about it, but this is this situation. It's just when everything is like those, oh, it'll only take you 5 minutes, it'll only take you a few minutes. But when you have so many of those things, it's an insurmountable mountain. And this is what this card symbolizes: things that are going on around you that become too much. It can also mean like backbiting, gossipy things like that. If you were at school, this would be like in the playground, everybody talking about each other. If you were at work, this would be office politics. It's like, it's little, but it's also annoying, yeah, when there's a lot of it. Now, and that is confirmed because what we've got here is the 3 of Cups, which is the card of celebration and joy, but it's reversed, which is like these ladies' cups have been tipped up. The joy has been sucked out of their celebration by these mosquito people, okay? What is the message from these cards then? It's this: get rid of these people, eliminate them. Not literally, but we need them to be quiet. We need them to shut up and leave you alone, because what we want in life is the Three of Cups this way up. Life needs to be a celebration, or let's hope it could be a celebration. Could you enjoy life more if you stopped listening to all this static around you, or if you stopped trying to do everything all at once, or thinking that in order to be a success, you had to have weeded your gravel? You know, if you went to bed at night thinking, oh, well, I didn't dust this, or I didn't weed the gravel, or I didn't call BT, or I didn't do this, all those things sort of gradually sucking the life out of you. Maybe you should go to bed at night and think, sod it, who cares? You know, I didn't weed the gravel. I don't care anymore about the gravel. That would be better, wouldn't it, to think like that? So these two cards together are like a little message, like, don't sweat the small stuff, right? Just put it to one side. There's more important things in life. There's more important things to get worried about. Worry about the bigger things, yeah? So don't let the small stuff get you down, because life is to be experienced in joy. Tashel, this was number 6, my love. We have number 7, 8, 9 and 10. No, 10 and 11. 7, 8, 10, 11 left. Right. Let us move on. We shall go to, we'll go to number 11. Number 11, what do we have? Oh, that's sweet. These are sweet cards. We've got the Page of Cups reversed, and we've got the 9 of Wands reversed. So these cards are poignant. Somebody's carrying emotional baggage. You chose number 11. Somebody's carrying emotional baggage, and they need to be able to let their barriers down, because what's ahead of them is a new relationship, perhaps with themselves, perhaps with a third party, perhaps just a new part of their life where they feel emotionally fulfilled. But that page, remember what a page is. A page is a child, and what that symbolizes, it's not a relationship with a child. It means like stepping into a new relationship with a childlike energy, with that childlike sort of feeling of inspiration, creativity, feeling of you know, being full of childlike wonder, not being afraid, not thinking of the consequences, not second guessing yourself, not thinking, oh my goodness, what if I try this and that happens, or I don't get on with this person, or, you know, with that. So the page is the child. So there's a new venture, new relationship, it's not, I'm going to come out with it. Page of Cups is really associated with a new relationship, okay? Most often it's a new relationship. If you're in a relationship, maybe you're going to get another one, or maybe it's just a new phase of that relationship, or maybe you're going to just like have a new relationship with yourself. But it's often to do with a new relationship. Now, because this is upside down and this is upside down on 9 of Wands, what we've got here is emotional baggage holding you back from this eventuality. What we want is this, okay? At the minute, we've got it blocked like this because the 9 of Wands, the wounded soldier card, this is somebody who's fallen down every pothole in the road of life and sort of picked themselves up, brushed themselves down. Resilience is their superpower, but they're jaded. Yeah, they've got massive walls built up around their heart, and they feel the need to protect themselves. They don't let other people in, you know, they've been hurt too much. They can carry emotional baggage from previous relationships, and that this is also a card that you'll see if somebody isn't trusting, has got trust issues. So you might see this card as well. So the message of these two cards is sweet and poignant. It's like, in order to experience this new relationship, you're going to have to let these barriers down. You're going to have to trust a little bit, perhaps, lay down the emotional baggage, sort of step forward without fear, step forward without worrying about what might happen. Okay, perhaps just be throw caution to the wind a little bit. and just see what will happen. All right, because if you continue with the walls up around your heart and you never trust anybody and you don't let anybody in, you're never going to manifest that new relationship. You're never going to manifest that change. So be better, be better. Right, that was number 11? Yes, it was. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? I'm just reading the chat again, I think, and we'll have a quick look on, see if anything's happening on TikTok. I keep saying that, and I go across there and there's like, I can see it says 4 viewers. If you're watching on TikTok, hello. You might want to come across to YouTube, which is at Sky Spirit Creations, where you can have a chance to ask me questions, because I can't see them if you type them into TikTok. Right, we're going to go to, where are we going to go? We'll go to number 7. What do we have? That Knight of Pentacles and the Knight of Cups reversed. Wow, that's interesting, isn't it? Let's have a look. Right. Okay. We've got 2 knights. One upright and black and one upside down and white. So we've got 2 opposites. We've got black and white thinking, up and down. We've got you stuck between 2 choices, 2 decisions, a dilemma. Cups, emotions, water, heart. Pentacles, earth, logic. Stuck between heart and head. Which way do you choose? Your heart or your head? Now, with this being 2 knights, I would say that this potentially is about a person. Yeah, with it being a court, with knights being court cards. So it's potentially a decision that you have to make about a person, a situation that involves a person, an individual, not necessarily a partner, could be, you know, a friend, a relative, a child, something like that. But it feels like you've got to decide between what your head tells you and what your heart tells you. Now, it's all right us identifying that in these cards, but what's the message of these cards? What's the advice? Now, the way that I would interpret these cards is that because the hearts card, the emotions card, is the reversal, and the logic card, the earth card, your pentacles, is the upright card. I would say the advice from these cards for you is to follow the practical, logical route in this situation. It's gonna be quite difficult because you see how these 2 knights, one's facing that way, one's facing that way when it's upside down. This is to show, this is like the cards showing me that this is like tearing you apart, this decision. It's a really difficult decision to make. And, you know, you'll be thinking about the pros and cons of each one and going between the other and not knowing which to follow. But we all, at the end of the day, don't we all really want to follow our heart? Even though sometimes we know that it probably isn't the right route to take, it just feels like more romantic, doesn't it? And more exciting to follow your heart and, like, you know, following the logic. Yeah, it's really boring and tedious and like, but sometimes it's just the right thing to do. And sadly, I think in this situation, the message from these cards is quite clear. It's follow your logical self in this situation. Follow your head, not your heart. All right. So if you've got a decision to make, number 6, yes, no, number 7. If you've got a decision to make, number 7, it's follow your head time, and this time let the logic win and put those dreams to the side. Just this time. Maybe next time we'll have these cards the other way up, and that would have been, yeah, that would have been better, wouldn't it? But it depends. I'm saying it would have been better, and that's because I like following my heart more, but maybe you like following the logic more. It probably works out better in most cases. So in this case, it's follow the logic time. I hope that helps. I really do. If you make some life-changing decision based on the power of the tarot cards and it works out for you, let me know. If you make a life-changing decision based on the tarot cards and it doesn't work out for you, just don't tell me. I kid you. I'm joking. Tell me anyway. Right. Let's move on. Number 8. Ooh, number 8. Wow, what do we have here? This is karmic. Right. Number 8. We've got the karmic end of a cycle. Something has come to full completion. You've worked through something. All the options have been played out. All the T's are crossed, dots are I's are dotted. All the things that could have been done have been done in a certain situation. Okay. Everything that should have been done has been done. Everything has been tried, and it's come to an end. Okay, it's come to an end for a reason. It's because when one door closes, another door opens, right? This is the kind of card that you would see if a certain part of your career was over and perhaps you've been feeling a bit sad about it, but when you look at it sort of objectively, you'd realize that, yeah, it was the right time for this to finish, and I'm in the right place now for that to finish. Because when one door closes, another door opens, it's time for a new opportunity to begin. It's time for something else to take the place of the stagnant karmic cycle that has come to completion. Yeah, the World card is always a good card usually because it's talking about, things that finish, things that are done with. And sometimes it can feel difficult, especially if you're like at the end of a relationship, because you might want to hang on to it and you don't want it to finish, but sometimes things are just done with. Yeah. And that card, the World, when it's upside down, tends to suggest that it's not been an easy ending for you. It might have felt difficult to let go of something. Yeah. But it's time. It's time to draw that line, and it's time to step over it because a new door opens, and da, 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 the new door is leading you to a far better place. Now, this 10 of Pentacles is about wealth. It's about, what's the word for it? I can't remember. We'll just use wealth and, gosh, my tongue is tied now thinking of that word. Can't remember what it is, but it's like this is a rain of money. It's like living in abundance. That's the word I'm looking for. Abundance. It's about abundance. So it can mean literally money, but it can mean your dreams being fulfilled, because it's like a 10. It's another card of completion, and but this is like money, wealth, career, fame, material things coming to you that you've worked for. So it feels like something needs to be said goodbye to. Could be career wise, yeah, because what you've got coming for you is what you've always wanted. It's like that. This card can literally mean like getting a huge inheritance, and like massive amount of wealth suddenly lands on your head. But in general, it doesn't often mean that, but it could mean that, let's have a look at a literal example, right? So you've really tried really hard to be an author, and you've had your book refused by loads and loads of agents, and then eventually you just think, maybe that wasn't the right book. I think maybe I won't send that to another agent. And then you think, I've always wanted to write a book about elephants. And so you write the new book. And that's how you actually become a published author, because that was your dream that actually came true once you'd said goodbye to that cycle. So that's a very literal example, obviously. But it's that kind of feeling, something that finishes, let it go, let go of it, stop it, holding onto your hands at the moment. You need to shake it off, yeah? It's upside down, so it can feel difficult to say goodbye, but goodbyes are powerful and they clear the way for new things. And your new thing is probably going to be what you always wanted in the first place, and you're going to receive it in a different way, because that is a shower of abundance. That's the word. I remembered it for the second time. Hurrah. So enjoy that energy, because that's awesome. I like that. Right, last little duo of cards. If you've got a question for me, you can type that in now. It would be a good time to type it in. Put QQQ first and type your question, and if there's any questions, then I'll come to them after I've done this final little bigger card style reading. Right, where are we going? Oh, I've just got my big face on and haven't put the cards on. There we go, number 10. Oh, oh, wonderful cards to finish on. So we've got the Tower and we've got the Eight of Wands. What do we have here then? Right, basically, this is like, okay, you need to become the wrecking ball. You need to get rid of stuff in your life and you need to do it now. There is things going on in your life, or there's situations, or there's people that you just need to knock down to the foundations. Look at the illustration on the Tower card. It's like basically the tower has been struck by lightning and it's falling to bits and there's people falling out of it. And it's just a general sort of a view of something quite hideous. But it's basically talking about the fact that we all have tower moments. You're very welcome, Tashelle. We all have tower moments. Did you choose the last cards by any chance? Sorry, I'm getting distracted again. Tower moments are essential in our lives because, you know, things stagnate and we stick around in toxic situations, or we keep flogging a dead horse, or we just keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result, or we are in a bad relationship, or we're in a crap job, or we are constantly having like fights with our friends, but we just swallow it down and we don't do anything about it, or we live in a horrible house that we don't enjoy, or you know, we have these things that build up in our lives and we build tower upon tower, block upon block upon block of unhappiness, and it goes taller and taller and taller. And then one day, bang, you have a tower moment and it all just gets smashed down to the ground. And at the time, it can feel like the worst thing on earth has just happened. Everything's fallen down around me and like, you know, everything's gone wrong. And then it's only with hindsight, like in the weeks, the months, the years after it, that you think, well, thank God that that happened. Thank God that happened because I really needed it. I really needed to knock everything down to the foundations to rebuild um, in order to get to a better place. Yeah, because I think as humans, that we try to cling on to things hoping that they're going to get better. And when you see this card, it's like, nah, it's not going to get better. Let's just blow it all up. Yeah. Let's knock it down. Let's start again. So this is a card. I mean, a lot of people think this is a quite a scary card in the tarot because, well, it looks quite scary, doesn't it? It's like this, you know, the tower falling down. And they always say that whatever happens after the tower moment in your life, things will never be the same again. But bring it on, I say, because like, isn't change marvelous? And like, it's like if things weren't good anyway, why would you want to hold on to them? Yeah. This isn't a case of something that's been fabulous and all of a sudden it's gone wrong. This is like something that needed leveled. And so you are the wrecking ball and you are leveling it. The significance of this card here in, oh, thank you, KLG. Thank you so much for the gift memberships. The significance of this card here, the Eight of Wands, tied in with our Tower card, is that you need to act quickly. So what we need you to do is examine your life and find this rotten tower that needs brought down. Now, it could be a relationship. A lot of things in our lives are, aren't they? Because we're very, very centered on our relationships. But it could also be something like, I just thought of an example and it's just gone clean out my head. What was it? No, it's gone. It could, there's a ton of stuff that it could be, isn't there? There's a ton of things that you need to act quickly on. You need to identify what these things are, though, and then act to move them. Act to move them out your way. Be that bulldozer. Be that wrecking ball. Don't be um, don't be afraid to start again. I think is the message from these cards. Don't be afraid to start again, because if we keep clinging on to things that are never going to work, then we're always just going to be stuck in a tower that wasn't built right and is rocking in the wind and is leaking and is damp and is infested with spiders. Yeah. What we do is we burn it to the ground and we rebuild something beautiful. So that's the message from those cards for you. Right, I don't think I have seen any questions, but I can see a Casa Bear with cabbages and wee wee. For the cabbage weeing man. I don't think I've seen any questions, which is awesome, which means that I can go and do anything else. I'm just having a quick scan with my concentration face on. Oh, I can't see how I can scroll up here. This is such a useless screen. Honestly, it is. How are you supposed to scroll up when you can't see the thing, the scrolly thing? Scroll bar, can't see it, don't have one. So I have to like block it off, you know, like when you scroll up and it selects it all and then try and read it like that. No, it's just, this is just not right. No, can't see any questions. Can't see anything. Right. Okay, well, I think that's us then. If you're watching this as a recording, then please come back and join us live or watch as a recording again. Remember that you can get your questions answered by using the power of the universe and selecting your number and accepting the guidance from the cards. You can also contact me for a one-to-one reading, and you can book those on skyspirit.co.uk, the website. Don't think there's any questions from the wonderful live audience. Thank you all for being here. Yes, Kaza, that might mean that I can just go and get drunk. That's a great idea. So, oh, you've put that in my head now. So I shall love you and leave you. Thank you for being here. Thank you to all the wonderful mods. You are all awesome. And everybody else for being here too, and especially KLG for all those wonderful gift memberships. You are awesome too. I love you very much, everybody. I shall see you next time.